Alright guys, welcome back to another edition of the How To series for Diablo 3. And in this video we're going to go over very quickly and very simply Paragon points for a level 70 Demon Hunter. I am at level 214, so I have quite a few to spend, but we're going to do this from the perspective that you're just starting out, you're continuing to level your Paragon, and you're trying to figure out, all right, where do I need to put my points? And it's going to change over time. I love the Paragon system that they put in. I love the revamped version if you weren't around for the one beginning. This is a much improved version. It kind of lets you manipulate your playstyle, and I think that's one of the best things is that you actually have, some control over, am I just going to get lucky on drops? And this, is pretty fun. You've got the core, you've got the offensive stats, you've got defense, and you've got utility. And we'll go over those real quick. Um, when you're running the core stats, very rarely will you see people run in without just running the main stat that they have there, whether it be dexterity, intelligence, or vitality. This is one you want to focus on, the extra damage that you're going to do by maxing out that stat. And in this case, it doesn't max, unlike these down here. If you need more maximum hatred, if you're running a certain build, maybe you'll stack some points into here, take away from dexterity. You'll get more shots off with more hatred at the expense of a little bit more dexterity. So there is a trade-off there. There is some math that can be done, but from a starting out standpoint, from a basic standpoint, you're going to want to keep them here. Vitality, not so much unless you're just really hurting for health. Movement speed, and this is really just playstyle. If you want to run around really fast and maybe you're just doing some quick farming, go ahead and throw those in there. If you've got enough damage and you're not fighting really tough guys and you're just going around one-shotting everything, throw that in there and you'll run around a little quicker. And other than that, there's no real benefit other than running for your life. Moving on to the offensive tab, you've got attack speed, cooldown reduction, crit hit chance, and crit hit damage. Now, for me, I've changed this as I've gotten more gear. I've, picked up gear that has different stats. Some have more crit hit chance than others. Some has more crit hit damage. Others have had attack speed. Cooldown reduction for Demon Hunter. There are no real cooldowns other than the Vengeance one here. And as far as damage you're going to put out over time, it's not really cost effective to put points into here. So the attack speed, we're running two one-handers on this build, which is the preferred way due to the passive skill here. And if you're running a two-hander, maybe that's something that you put a few points in. Maybe you're trying to regenerate some of your hatred with entangling shot or whatever you're using here, and you're not firing off quick enough, and you're trying to figure out ways to supplement a little bit. Hey, I need more hatred, how can I get that? And that might be one way, and that's really going to depend on your gear. If you can run two one-handers, great. If you're still gearing up and your best bet right now is a two-hander or a one-hander with a quiver, feel free to go ahead and use those and put your points in there into attack speed just to kind of boost that up a little bit so that you're not drained for hatred all the time. For this build that we've got here, we're kind of playing with the crit hit chance and the crit hit damage. Where we're sitting at now is kind of high on both of them. We've got 54.5% crit hit chance and 537 in the crit hit damage. So we're able to play with this a little bit. We're able to manipulate this to our own play style. And again, it's going to depend on your gear, and you'll probably change this quite a few times probably when you're gearing up, because you're going to swap out different pieces. They're going to have different stats. So be mindful of that. Under the defense tab, I've got resist all maxed out, and this is a good place to start. Again, unless you're really hurting for life, the resist all is where you're going to benefit the most, because there's so many different types of elemental damage that this is going to go across the board. In the other videos we've discussed, if you scroll over with 738 resistances under physical, it's 67.82% damage reduction, and of course it's going to be different for each one. So as you can see here, the more points that we have, an extra 2%, is basically, I apologize, an extra 5.5% is almost there for, say, 270 resistances. So you're mitigating an extra 5% damage as you max out the 250 there. And that's a rough number. That's not an exact number. But it's a good place to start, is to put it into the resist all. If you need more armor there, if you need some healing, maybe you've got really good resist. This is again is going to depend on gear, but you're probably going to start more or less on the resist all. Life regeneration is very minimal. It doesn't scale as well as I would hope, but if you stack it with other gear and you can put some on there, that's a good place to put it in, as well as armor and life. So again, it's going to depend on your gear, but for a regular cookie cutter build, you're gearing up, this is a good place to start under resist all. The utility build, unfortunately, the gear that I have at the moment doesn't have a lot of life on hit, so I'm using this as my max right now. For the Demon Hunter build, it's not a bad idea, especially if you're running at lower torment levels or lower levels and you're doing enough damage and you're not taking as much damage. Resource cost reduction, you can boost this up. And if you want to go, you can actually shift click, by the way, if you're looking to add points in multiple at a time. We can boost this up, an extra 10% resource cost reduction on cluster arrow, which takes 40 hatred. So you take another 4 off there and you're down to 36. Couple it maybe with some gear that you have, and this is a really good area to put points into. And outside of that, if you really need gold, there's generally plenty out there to farm up, and the main goal is to stay alive and do more damage. So I don't really see gold find going in here, boosting it up by 50. Just play in torment and you've got plenty. There's a lot of gear out there as a secondary stat that has it. And then area damage, this is one that I've been playing with on and off. It's kind of hard to see exactly how much damage it's doing. Obviously, you have if you look here under your details tab, all attacks have a 20% chance to also deal, and in that case it's 0. So let's boost this up so we can see it here. 20% chance to do 50% of the damage to enemies within 10 yards is pretty good. But again, if your main goal is to do more effective damage, then you're probably going to want to put the points in a resource cost reduction. And you can always split these up. You can put some here, here, and here. But depending on your gear, and given where I'm at now, we're going with life on hit. So we'll do some more videos on some other classes. And again, a lot of it's going to depend on gear. But in case you had any questions to begin with, as far as, hey, where do I start with my Paragon points? This is a real base build that you really can't go wrong with. You're obviously going to be able to manipulate a few things. And again, I love this just because you can adjust it to your play style, to your gear, and that way you're not dead set. You're missing one piece of gear, and you're like, all right, this is a good piece of gear, but it's really going to affect me overall. So maybe you can come here and alter your crit hit chance or your crit hit damage, and next thing you know, that one piece of gear is now turned your whole build around to where you're doing stellar damage. You're getting a lot of stuff going. So I wanted to put this together, guys. Hopefully this is a little bit more informative. Hopefully you've got a good place to start. Definitely feel free to mess around with the stuff. You can always go. You can reset it here, and do a lot of fun stuff with this. So look for more videos that we've got out there. There's going to be more in the description. And again, this is more just for the basic how-to series for Diablo, getting started once you've hit 70 and really just understanding the basics. So thanks for watching, guys. Happy hunting, and we'll see you next time.